Hello everyone, George Rambler Man here. Hope everybody's doing well. It is a beautiful early spring day, and I am so thrilled to be out on my brand new Harley-Davidson Heritage Classic. I've owned it about a month now, a little over a month, and timing was terrible, but I had to have a little back surgery a few weeks ago. Thanks to everybody who's dropped me messages and comments and wished me well. The back surgery went well and I am fine, and I am back out on the motorcycle. I'm still in the break-in period, so you know, I read the owner's manual and watched a few videos, and I'm doing everything that you're supposed to be doing, keeping the RPMs basically under 3,000 and kind of varying the gears and the speeds on these two-lane roads, and not getting out on the highway and opening up, and just trying to do the right thing to break it in. I've only got a few hundred miles on it, even though I've owned it over a month. I mean, the weather's been kind of terrible too, but it's a beautiful day here today, and I am so happy to be out on it. I did a walk around video a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure you got a chance to see the new bike, but it's a 2020 Heritage Classic in vivid black. It's the 114, so it's got the blacked out look, which I really like. I think I got a pretty good deal on it, and I'm very happy with it. So why did I buy a Harley-Davidson Heritage Classic? Any of you that have watched any of my videos over the years know that I've talked about a new motorcycle from time to time and what I might like, and you know, I like old motorcycles. That doesn't mean every motorcycle is right for me, but I really like them all. And when I was deciding to buy a new one, and as I said in my walk around video, it was about last summer I decided to buy a new one. I'd had my Suzuki Boulevard for about 7-8 years, and it was a 2005 model, and you know, it was just time for me to get a new bike. And not that I was terribly unhappy with the Boulevard. I liked it. It was a good motorcycle, and I did trade it in. I was kind of sad I had to let it go, but they gave me such a good deal on it. But as I said in my walk around video, I wanted the 2021s to come out, see if anything stood out there to me, and nothing really did. So I thought, well, I'll get a good deal on a leftover 2020, and that's what I did. And I bought this in February at Killer Creek Harley-Davidson in Roswell, which is the closest Harley dealer to my home, and that's who I really wanted to do business with, and I did. There are good folks there. If you're in the Atlanta area and you're looking for a Harley-Davidson, I recommend them. But why did I decide on the Heritage? And maybe what are some other bikes that I considered? Well, just a couple of reasons. When I decided I want a new bike, you know, I'd had the mid-size kind of cruising bike, the Suzuki Boulevard, for several years, and that's really the kind of bike that I liked. But when I decided to buy a new one, I thought a little bit about upgrading to the bigger touring bikes. So I rented and test rode the Street Glide, the Road Glide, the Road King, the Indian Springfield, you know, bigger bikes than this, just to see what I liked. And I loved them. I mean, I liked every single motorcycle that I test rode. And I could have made an argument for buying really any of them. But when I looked at the type of riding that I do, and you know, the amount of trips that I take, you know, I really couldn't justify the really big and expensive touring bikes. I take maybe 1 or 2 trips a year, and usually they're, you know, 3, 4, 5 days at most, and I'm not riding 2 up across the country or anything like that. So I thought to myself, you know, touring bikes are nice. I mean, I love all the goodies that go along with them, and the you know, the GPS and the infotainment systems, those are nice. But I just, you know, I couldn't justify the money, and I really couldn't justify the size of the bike. And, you know, as I get older, I'm in my 60s, and, you know, I don't know how many more motorcycles I'll own, but, you know, the size and the weight, it does matter to me. I'm not getting any stronger as I get older, and, you know, muscling a big, huge touring bike around a garage or in parking lots or in tight, slow speed situations, I just really didn't want that. And I even considered some smaller bikes. I looked at the new Harley Street Bob and the Indian Scout, you know, a few others, you know, smaller. But I test rode a couple. Did not test ride the Street Bob, but I did test ride the Indian Scout, and it was just a little bit too small for me. I felt a little cramped on it, and by the time I added the bags and the wind protection and the floorboards and everything else, it was roughly the same price as this Heritage. So I ruled out the smaller bike. So this, you know, why did I buy the Heritage? It's you know, it's the style of bike that I like. It's about the right size. It's got a bigger engine than I had on the Suzuki. This 114 is a beast. I mean, this thing will fly, and I haven't opened it up yet. As I say, I'm still going through the break-in, but you know, this was the size I like, and it really checked all the boxes of the options. You know, I sat down and made a list of the things that I wanted on a new motorcycle. Let me just kind of list some of them off. I may forget some, but if I think of it later, I'll mention it. I wanted saddlebags, and I wanted hard bags that were lockable. I really like the hard bags on the touring bikes that are painted that match the bike, but these bags on the Heritage are like leather wrapped, and they are lockable, so that checked that box. I wanted a windshield. I wanted some wind protection. A lot of the smaller bikes I looked at, I would have had to add the windshield at an extra cost. The Heritage came with this windscreen. The thing I like about riding a bike like this with the windscreen, you know, it keeps most of the air off of you at high speed, but you still have the feeling of the air, and being on a bike, and the field of vision is just real good, and that's, you know, that's what I prefer. I wanted floorboards, and that's another thing that, you know, the Suzuki Boulevard I had was the first bike I've ever owned that had floorboards, and I got used to them very, very quickly, and I wanted that. And a lot of the smaller bikes I looked at, Street Bob, some of these smaller soft tails, you know, you get foot pegs, and I would have had to swap out and add floorboards to it. It's just, you know, more added cost and aggravation, really. So I also wanted, you know, some of the newer technology that I did not have on my Suzuki Boulevard. I wanted ABS brakes. I wanted cruise control. This Heritage has a USB port that I could plug a phone into if I want to put the phone on my handlebars. One of the things that I really like about the Heritage is the display. And if you look down, you know, the LCD screen is nice and big. You know, it's got the standard things, you know, the trip meters and the odometer. But it's got the gear indicator, which I like. I didn't have on the Boulevard. It's got the range to empty. It's actually got a fuel gauge. You know, I didn't have a fuel gauge on the Suzuki Boulevard, and I got used to it. I knew how far I could ride, and I'd set the trip meter. But you know, this has got all the information I need on this little LCD display, and then just a standard speedometer. I mean, this is kind of classic to what I like. You know, one of the things I didn't like about the Road King was I think the speedometer and the display on the Road King is not nearly as nice as the Softails in this Heritage. The little LCD portion that reads out the gear indicator and the various other things is really small. So I wanted a newer technology. You know, I wanted a comfortable riding position. I love these mini ape handlebars. This seat is pretty comfortable, but I do have to tell you, I've ordered myself a Mustang seat with a backrest. It's actually backward. I don't know when I'll have it. This seat is fine, really, but you know, after I had the back surgery, I thought I could benefit maybe from having a backrest, and I love the Mustang seat that I had on my Boulevard, so I went ahead and ordered it. I tell you, the Mustang seat with the backrest and the matching passenger pillion is expensive. It's almost $800 from Mustang. That's a major investment that I didn't really want to spend, but I just decided to go ahead and do it. Another thing I wanted was LED lights, and this Heritage didn't hit every box I wanted to check off for LED lights, but it did have LED headlight and the front driving lights, and I was a little aggravated to have to negotiate and add the turn signals and brake light. I mean, I added that as part of my negotiated deal to buy it, but if it would have already come with it, I could have maybe got something else. I also had to add the engine guard, which I didn't really like. The grips and the mirrors that I added are totally like discretionary things. I love these Dominion mirrors and these grips. So basically, the Heritage came with stock from the factory. It came with almost everything that I wanted, and it wasn't like I was buying a bike and then having to add thousands and thousands of dollars worth of accessories. And I've ridden the Heritage before, test ridden it and rented one before, and I knew how they handled, and the handling is great. This Milwaukee 8 engine is really something else. And so really the Heritage, it just checked all the boxes right out of the gate, and price-wise, it was about where I wanted to pay. It's more expensive than the smaller, inexpensive bikes. Not as expensive as the big touring bikes. I think it's a pretty good price point. So that's really why I bought the Heritage. And I guess last thing, I've always owned metric bikes my entire life. I'm a red-blooded American male. I have a lot of riding friends that ride Harley-Davidsons, and I wanted one. I have to admit, I wanted a Harley-Davidson, once in my life. If I keep this bike a few years and I don't like it, that doesn't mean I won't trade it in on a Indian or a Kawasaki or something else. But I wanted a Harley-Davidson, and I like the looks of it. I like the fact there's a big, huge dealer network, and there's a million aftermarket parts for it. I mean, almost anything you want to add to it, you can add to it. That's kind of one of the things about Indian. I love Indian motorcycles. I think they make a great motorcycle. They're very, the styling I like. But they just don't have the dealer network out there, and that does concern me a little bit. But this has got the classic styling. I mean, this is what a motorcycle to me should look like. It's got the spoked wheels, the full fenders, the leather bags, nice windshield. I really like the blacked out look. It's grown on me. I love the blacked out windshield and all the black features on the bike. I'll probably add some slip-on mufflers here in the near future. But other than the Mustang seat, I really can't think of too much else I'm going to add to it. I mean, I just love the way this thing handles. It's really everything I wanted in a bike. There's some good metric bikes out there. I mean, Kawasaki makes some good bikes, and Honda does. The new Indian Chief it came out actually after I bought this, and I looked at some of the videos, and I like that bike. I think it's a competitor to this Softail. I like the display, the digital display they have. But overall looks, I still go with the Heritage. The Honda came out with the 1100 Rebel, which is that might be a bike I might consider in the future for a second bike. It's around that $10,000 range, and they actually have it in a DCT model, and that's something I'll consider in the future. I really wonder how long it'll be before Harley starts putting out any bikes with the dual clutch transmissions, the automatic transmissions. Right now, the only ones that I know that do it is Honda. I know they do it on their Goldwing and some of their smaller bikes, and now they do it on this Honda Rebel 1100. But I don't think I would have, the new Chief or the new 1100 Rebel wouldn't have changed my mind on this Heritage. I love it. I can't wait to take it out on the trip that Stoney and are going to take in May. Really looking forward to it. Get some miles on it, get through this break-in period. So that's about it. Leave me your comments below if you have any questions about the Heritage and what I think about it. So far, after a month, I love it. After I've put some substantial miles on it, I'll do a video on some of my likes and dislikes. You know, the really only dislikes I have right now really are just what I had to do at the very beginning, adding the LED lights and the engine guard. You know, I just thought, well, you know, Harley, come on, man. But as far as riding it, I don't have any dislikes right now. It's just, I love it. Alright, well, I'm continuing to break in. Beautiful day to ride. Everybody have a great week. This is George Ramowin. So long, everybody.